Mr. Miyagi.
Hello everybody, this is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Howard, my main man. How are you, dude?
How are we doing? Good to be back.
Yeah, great to be back. Great to be back, man. Always put a smile on my face. And we have young Con Doyle down the bottom of the screen repping Soothsayer tonight.
How you doing?
Great to have you on board, man. Third time lucky.
Third time lucky? I've been on it more than fucking 3 times now, haven't I?
3. This is your third, yeah.
Really?
This is the third?
Third,
wow.
Yeah. Twice
with
Monolith.
A big steaming third.
A big steaming third.
Speaking of steaming...
And it
cheers,
freezes
mate.
straight away at the screen. Yeah, cheers, lads. Howard's on Powers and Con's on Jameson.
Gotta be done.
And I'm on the Pinnakin. So,
We're supporting local and you're just a horrible bastard, Richie.
yeah.
That's it.
Supporting the Finns, the Flying Finns.
Oh, yeah.
Been the ruination of many a good show so far on the podcast.
It's local to someone, though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, anyway, let's get talking about Soothsayer. Thank you for sending me on the album. I don't know how many tracks have you heard off it, Howard? You've probably heard Fringe and Outer Fringe, have you?
I've heard I've heard the track up on YouTube, Outer Fringe. I've heard it all at various stages, but
nice.
I'd say it's probably pre-lockdown before I've actually heard it in its entirety. Actually listening to the track today again, I didn't recognize it from hearing it before, but part of that, I suppose, it doesn't really kick in for 6 minutes, which is a brave move.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. But I have heard, but it's so far long ago now. It's it's not fresh in the memory at all.
Okay, so
I remember being very happy.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's music. There's
it's more than
notes
a thing
in it and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's look, it's not going to be for everyone, especially with the the long intro. But we really did our best to capture the live show. So we recorded it live with everyone as in one room as we could possibly get it without spilling over. So we really went for that, and I think we got about as close as you can get to that. I mean, you probably need some narcotic help in order to get there fully, but your luck.
It always helps. It always helps. So if anybody hasn't heard of Soothsayer before, Con, there's probably a good few that haven't. If you don't, believe it or not, we've got a lot of new fans on the show. So how would you describe, first of all, the band, and then you might just give us a rough story of how he formed and who's in it, and we can move on from there then.
Okay, so I guess I'm rubbish at fucking categorizing what we do, to be honest, but I think probably atmospheric, blackened doom, sludge, jazz blues, something along those lines.
Yeah,
who fucking knows? But it's heavy in places and it's not heavy in other places, and it's angry in places and it's not angry in other places.
How long are you going for those that don't know?
Very fucking long now at this point. I think 7 years ago, roughly, was when our first gig was.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a long time.
That's a long time, yeah.
It is a long time, yeah.
Yeah, the debut EP was released in 2015. Self-titled.
That sounds about right, yeah.
And the current members are Liam on voices and sound effects, soundscapes, yourself on guitars, Mark on guitars, Pavel on bass, and Sean on drums.
Sean Junior Bean.
Yes. So Sean replaced Will, didn't he? Will Fahy?
Spinal Tap thing going there with bassists.
Yeah.
Where So we initially, myself and Will tried out for a band, Iru, and it was the same practice both of us came in on, and we both got the gig, and so Liam was in that band, and we played away. I don't think we actually played a gig with them. That band sort of fizzled out, and so a couple of the members left, and it was just myself, the bassist James, Liam, and Will left over. So we decided to have a look at getting another guitarist, which we did. Mark O'Grady. Happy birthday, Mark.
Happy birthday.
So he came on board, and he was a great fit. Myself and Mark worked very, very well together from the get-go. He'd be more of a technically minded guitar player, whereas I'm just a fucking hot mess. But
hot being the important word.
I'm fucking roasting at the moment, actually. Yeah. So yeah, it worked. It worked quite well. James, he was the bassist for Iru. It didn't really work out with where we wanted to go and what James wanted to do. So we got in Steve Quinn, who is the bassist for Corvona, and the singer for The Grief.
Yeah.
And he was with us for a good while. He did the first 2 recordings, and did a great job. But he wanted then he was moving away, and it kind of became a bit of a chore for him to kind of get down to practices and stuff. And so he moved on to Fields anew. And then so we got in my friend Tal, who was with us for a while. He would have been in Mendicant with me.
Okay.
Is it Johnny Watkins was in that band as well, isn't it?
Johnny Watkins was in Mendicant, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had Tim O'Leary, who is
a passage man. Good strong passage man.
Oh fuck, he is a passage man. Yeah, yeah.
He lives in a castle down the road.
Yeah. No longer. He lives up on the loch now. He is the Lord of the Loch. But yeah, so he was with us for a while, and he is a great musician. He's a great bass player. And look, we finally ended up with Pavel, and Pav's been with us for a couple of years now. So we're fairly happy with the lineup. As I said, it was kind of very stop go, and I think that kind of contributed to a bit of it contributed a bit to us being held back, because you're bringing in new people and you're kind of showing them the songs, and we were kind of gigging all the time as well. So
I think to set lineup, more or less, you went with a split with Howard's band, Partholon.
Yeah. That was Pav and Junior's first recording that they did.
Mm-hmm. How did that come about, actually, lads? I know you know each other, but who came up with the idea?
Fuck it, I can't remember, if I'm honest.
I think it's
from sharing the same jam space, I would imagine, the same building above. We would have been chatting and catching up and regularly talking to each other. We played with Weiroo quite a bit with Five Will Die. Well, quite a bit, maybe 3 or 4 gigs. And I'd be good friends with Liam and Mark anyway from their Days and Night days. So, we had that kind of mutual crossover. And of course, Pav came on the scene as the songman in Fred's. So we were talking about things for a bit, I think, but I think what it kind of came from was we wanted to get a vinyl out in some way, shape or form. And the best and most cost-effective way to go forward with that was to do a 7-inch split. And I think it was really just the mechanics and simplicity of that made us do it than anything else. And it was just, I think we just had a conversation. It was like, let's put something out. Let's get something out in vinyl. And it wasn't long after that we started the recording process. It kind of, I think we were both looking for something to work on, because we'd done, I think he just done the first release. We'd done our first release, and we had that kind of gap in between things. And a few songs were hanging around. We were like, fuck it, this would be a good way to do things. And of course, we're fans of the band, and I think we're in a similar style, a similar vein, a similar approach to the way we do things. Completely different personalities across the board, but definitely a sort of a kind of a collective goal, or whatever you want to call it, a collective spirit.
Yeah. It was really well received as well.
Did okay. No, don't get me wrong, there's about 70 vinyl there lying on the fucking floor waiting to be picked up, like, but
I have a heap of them as well, yeah.
But having said that, yeah, I mean, the reception to it was good.
Yeah.
We toured the UK on the back of it, and it was received pretty well. It actually sold more on that tour than we did online, which was great. But yeah, we still have it. It was fun to do, and I think what it did more than anything else was it introduced us all to Pavel. And I think we can all agree that he's been a shot in the arm for a lot of people across the board in the metal scene, in the music scene in Cork in general. He's a real common denominator between a lot of bands. And I think that around those couple of months that we were working on this thing, that's when you started to see the worth of having Pavel I Am Job involved in things.
Rumour has it he's not even from this country.
Rumours.
Vicious rumours.
Did Eno Callahan...
He whispered to me in Irish last night. Don't tell anyone, he said.
Involved in that, Con?
Was who?
Was Eno Callahan from Horse involved in...
He did vocals on that, actually, yeah. Mini. Yeah, he did a fucking great job as well. Yeah, it was a lot. It was actually a lot of fun doing that, because like prior to that, I think like we had brought out 2 EPs, which you could argue were, well, the first one is like 40 minutes long or something like that, with 3 songs on it. The second one is 27 minutes long with 2 songs on it.
Yeah.
So for me to write a song that was less than 10 minutes long was unheard of. But we had this limit of, because it had to fit on the side, having to write the song in 7.5 minutes was something I had never written a song that short. So it was a real radio edit sort of a job. And it was actually quite fun. Now what we did for that release, like that song Cephalopod is very different to anything that we had done before that. It's a fucking weird song, to be honest, but it's nice. For a while it was my favorite song to play live. And
how did it end up with Magnus Lindberg mastering it? What was the connection there?
That was all Howie B's job there. Handiwork.
Yeah, we'd had the mastering done on the first Partlon record through himself, and we actually had the song that we used. We recorded it in the first sessions, but when we were taking into consideration of releasing the album on vinyl, it wasn't fitting in terms of the time or whatever you want to call it, and it didn't really fit into the vibe of it all. It was a bit of a shorter song. So, but Magnus, it was just a case of we were very happy with the way he worked it on the first time, and it's a quick process with Magnus. So, and it's always a good product. So fuck it, in and out, go get it done.
Yeah. So, Con, your next release then after that, I'm just bringing it along slowly, was the Live in Malta.
Yeah.
So you went out to Jim Tobin, a great friend of the Cork metal scene, and
well, he was a big part of it for a long time.
Yeah, big time. Yeah,
huge part for quite some time.
Yeah. We've talked about him and praised him quite a lot on this show.
Grand old beard.
I think. Did he get you out to Malta as well, Howard? Did he?
No, I was. I went on my honeymoon to Malta.
And that's it.
I met up with him on the beach and had a beach party.
Classic.
Singing Tin Lizzy at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning with the sun coming up.
Brilliant.
The best time to be doing that.
That's the last time I met him. But I would have, done shows with Jim and hung out with him quite a bit before he left for Malta.
So how did the whole Malta experience come for you, Soothsayer? I know he was running gigs the whole time out there and doing it quite successfully as well, Con.
Yeah, well, we had been on to him a couple of times about maybe doing something, and there was I suppose it was just never the right time for either side. And then he brought Morning Beloved over. And I mean, that's a kind of an ideal fit, really. So we played with them. No, it was really handy because as it turns out, the world being as tiny as it is, I knew a guy from one of the bands that were supporting that night. So he put us up. It was actually Rex is his name. He's from Victims of Creation. He's the bassist and frontman. Great guy. But he put us up over in Malta, and it was his girlfriend's house. So she lives in Dubai pretty much 11 months of the year, 11 and a half months of the year. But her house in Malta, we were just given the keys to. He turned up and was just like, "Oh, Con, how's it going? Yeah, great to see you. We have a beer. Here's the keys." And I was just like, "You fucking serious?" And we went, and man, this gaff was palatial. It was fucking beautiful. Yeah, and it was perfect for us because you go in the door and there's a stairs going up, and then underneath the stairs there was this big alcove with all these tribal instruments and just cushions on the ground and shit. And we're all a big giant bag of hippies, we were just sitting down, twisted off our heads, fucking playing all these tribal instruments and chanting and shit. It was so much fun.
How many days were you over there for?
We went over. Oh fuck, man! It was one very long day. Probably 4 or 5 of your days. I don't know, but it was it was just one extremely long day.
Those are the best days. Those are the best days.
The best days of our lives. Funnily enough, man, Pat's going to hate me for telling you this, but I don't give a shit. He's not even from this country. The last night that we were there, we were all fucking wankered, and so we woke up the morning after, and our flight we needed to be in the airport for an hour's time or whatever. So we were like, okay, yeah, no bother. And Pav, he's a swimmy sort of a fella, he loves going to the beach and having an old swim for himself. And so he was like, fucking, okay, I'm going to get a taxi to whatever beach it was. Now, everything in Malta, by the way, is 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
It's everything. No matter where you're going, it's 20 minutes away. And it's fucking ridiculous. But anyway, the cab drive was 20 minutes to get to the beach where he wanted to go, and he had to get a cab then to the airport, and yeah, that was 20 minutes to the airport as well. Fucking yeah, whatever. But I was kind of saying, we have to be at the airport very soon. You're going to get there, you're going to jump in the ocean, you're going to come out, and you're going to hop in the taxi. Is it really worth it? There's a good chance that you'll fuck up and miss the flight. And he was just like, I know what I'm doing. And so he left. Anyway, we did oh yeah, we'll meet you at the airport. So we packed up our shit. We packed up our stuff and headed to the airport. And of course, we were waiting outside, and fucking no sign of Pav. And time came and went, and Pav, where the fuck is he? So trying to ring him, his battery was dead. I was standing there with his bag of clothes going, what the fuck do we do? I got to go home and go to work. I can't fucking hang around in Malta just because this asshole decided to go for a swim. And so we waited, and in the end we were just like, okay, we'll just send him a message, tell him that we've dropped his stuff. We have to go through security and all that, and passport control. We'd leave it here, and this took place, over an hour and a half of just being really fucking stressed. And then suddenly Pav strolls in the door as if nothing's wrong, just hello, and just off with him. It's just not exactly how you want to be traveling, but yeah, it made for a fun story. He's a funny guy.
The live at Malta, who recorded that? Was it Jim or one of his friends? Or
no, it was the guys who were doing sound for the gig.
Yeah.
So yeah, sound was great for that gig. They did a great job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they said to us that they were recording, and did we want the thing? So luckily we had a USB key, I think. And yeah, either way, we either had a USB key or they emailed it on to us or whatever. But yeah, we got it. We were sitting on it for a while, kind of humming and hawing about what we were going to do with it. And in the end, we just said, you know what, fuck it, we'll release it and put it on cassette.
Yeah,
people had been like asking us for a tape for a very long time, but you know, it's not that many people who actually buy and listen to tapes. I don't. I'll buy every other format, but never a tape. So I never felt we were kind of. It was a good idea to do one. That it was just sort of felt like chucking money down a hole. But
how many did you make?
I think
50 or more?
I think it was 50. Yeah, it was a limited enough run anyway. Yeah, I think it was 50 because we did 50 shirts as well. So because we were selling those as like a bundle, that fucking toxic green sculptopus
that Jack O'Neill loves, and that you've been seen flogging out of a boot in Fairhill.
Hang on now. You know,
don't fucking shoot the messenger. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
VHS of the live performance.
Oh yeah. No, he asked me, did I have a T-shirt, and I said, well, funnily enough, I have some in the car. You know, it's not as if I drove up and set up a stall.
Sound like you did.
Fuck off! No, I am going to shoot the messenger, Richie. You bollocks.
And 2 of the new songs made it onto that Live in Malta gig, which was Outer Fringe and True North. True North sounds fucking great, actually, live.
Yeah. It's like we were 45 minutes slot or something like that. You know, you want to do a mix of stuff. You want to do like some old stuff for the people who have listened to the old stuff. You want to do some new stuff to kind of get people going, oh fuck, that's
how long?
That's going to be up on.
Sorry, Con, because you were breaking up there. How long was your time slot? Did you say for the gig?
Oh yeah, like about how long is the tape? that long? I think it's about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But it's always difficult picking songs because our songs are so long that, you know, if we were to just do the first EP, that's your time slot done. Yeah. You know, that's like the whole time taken up, and that's always been an issue with us. If you know, if we want to play 8 songs, that's 2 hours. Like.
Yeah, it's a common occurrence with a lot of Cork doom sludge bands.
It is. This is our last song, and fucking 20 minutes later, still playing the last fucking song. You know, a very common thing.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, ultimately, you know, it's in your control. But like, I'm glad nobody has compromised so far. Not that we know of anyway. That have fucking could have had a 20 or 30 minute epic.
Yeah,
and reduce it to 15. You know,
we do. Like we often end our set with Lunar Correspondence from the first EP, and we regularly or we have done anyway. Maybe not regularly, but we have just played like the first verse, the first chorus, and then gone into sort of the fast bit at the end. Yeah, so that cuts about fucking 4 minutes off the song.
Yeah.
If we're ever in a pinch, that's what we do. You know?
And in relation, Con, then, I'm glad you brought up Lunar Correspondence. How far have you travelled, and I mean travelled musically wise, to Echoes of the Earth in relation to Lunar Correspondence? It's a close enough cousin, really.
I think we have a very definite sound, and it's, you know, when you have all the different components of the band together, like i.e. the members, that it's you
keep the core values. Obviously, I mean,
we really do, but
like there's 6 years in the difference between that song and the new release, and yet it's not. It's not too far away. You haven't changed much.
No, it's not too far away. No, having said that, like half the albums from that song, half the songs from that album were actually written around the same time as the second EP was written. So
really?
Yeah. So like Six of Nothing and Cities Made of Smoke they've been around a good few years at this point. So,
oh, okay.
Now, Cities Made of Smoke in particular, like there's a lot of that song is in a major key. So it, which is sort of weird for us. There's fucking jazzy passages in the song, which is sort of strange. But I mean, it works within the sound, and that's what we always said from day one. Is like fucking we'll write whatever we write, and we're not going to try and steer it in one direction. Whatever comes out. And so far, it's all sounded like Soothsayer stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So do you know what we're going to do is we're going to play a small section of Six of Nothing. And,
well, you can play it. I'm going to go for a fag.
Well, yeah, go for it, man. I'll give you around 3.5 minutes. How about that?
No, I can leave my headphones on. They're wireless. I'm a fancy man like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You couldn't get the lighting sorted, but you got the fancy wireless headphones. By God.
You think he'd leave us a picture of his arse or something, Richie?
What?
You think he'd leave us a picture of his arse or something?
No.
That's the live show.
No. Jesus Christ. Howard, they don't pay me enough, man.
No,
they don't pay you at all, Richie.
Anyway, so can't believe he just flashed his arms. Six of Nothing. That's so good, man. That is so fucking good.
Yeah, I like that song.
Yeah. There's two ones at the moment that I think that I like more, but as I said, it's such a massive scale album. There's so much going on. I'm gonna have to live with it joyfully for another few weeks. And man, thanks for sending it on to me. I think
No problem.
I think it's actually a game changer, Howard. And it's that good.
Liam is just stunning at times. You know, she's always been kind of building towards something.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first time I've listened to it where he seems to have just done his thing without any real input from anyone else, and it sounds fucking great. He's a real star. Like you pick him out of a crowd in terms of his voice. And normally we hear bands and vocals and things, and they all sound the fucking same. But with Liam, you definitely hear him kind of shine through a little bit. Certainly for me anyway, straight away you hear Liam. You know it's Liam. You can picture the fucker like. But no, it's anything with him involved in is usually going to be top quality anyway. But it seems like he's found what he's been looking for over the years. I think he was hitting close with Wiru. I think Days and Night was probably a little bit not as expansive as Soothsayer. It was a little bit more to the point. But this sort of meandering stuff really works for him.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect platform for Liam just because it's fucking weird, and Liam's weird.
He's a weird alien fuck, you know?
He's absolutely an alien. I don't believe for 1 second that he's human. Not for 1 fucking second. But yeah, he's it just the music seems to suit him, and I think he's really progressed in the relatively short time I've been working with him. He's gone from being extremely good to just being exceptional, and I've been saying it for a long time that Liam is our not so secret weapon. You know, he's a world class front man, and there's no other way about it.
He's really crossed that kind of bridge from being a great live guy to recording fantastically. You know, he's always been a spectacle to watch live. Right? It's always fun to watch Liam play. Like, but it really captured what he can do really well.
I think a big part of that as well is the fact that we recorded live.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, I think we recorded the Cephalopod live. We recorded Echoes of the Earth live, and the first thing we recorded live was At This Great Depth. He's just it suits him. It works.
Yeah, I was just going to ask there in relation to, like, I suppose every song is different, but was the majority of the music wrote when Liam added the soundscapes and his vocals, or what way do you work as a band?
That's normally the way of it, yeah.
Okay.
So either myself or Mark will come in with the original ideas, and we just kind of go from there. We had something that I used to do for the first EP. So those were 3 songs that I had written, but I had written multiple parts for them, and I was just like, okay, Mark, this is what you'll be playing here, which I've completely changed what I do now. So I no longer do that. I have my parts, and I go, okay, Mark,
And how do you store those ideas, Con? Do you record them, or how do you keep those ideas?
Usually I notate, so I'll write it down. I'm not very technologically good.
You got the response from him. Okay.
I'm shit at technology basically. So I try, and I've tried several times to sort of record my ideas and send them on and stuff, and it just never works out. I'm better off. I'm sort of a more in-person kind of guy anyway. So yeah, that's how we do it. We do all our work in the practice room.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll come in with an idea, we'll expand on it, we'll go, okay, we'll do this for however many times, and I might have a basic structure, but then usually that ends up changing, and we sort of end up
that would definitely suit Liam then, obviously.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like Liam, a lot of the time when we're doing that, Liam will be in the room, and you can see he's sitting down, and the wheels are fucking spinning in his head, and he's coming up with lots of different ideas.
He does. He wears his thoughts on his face quite a bit. Does Liam?
Oh, he does, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and generally, like, we'll kind of jam through stuff and then get a rough idea of what we want the structure to be like, and then at the end of the practice, Liam will come in and he'll start trying out a couple of different things.
Okay.
And yeah, look, like anything, fucking not everything works, and that doesn't just go for Liam, that goes for everyone else. But you know, there's always that fucking wonderful moment when you hit on something and you're just like, do this all the time. Yeah. So and I think we found very, very many of those moments on the album. There was a lot of them. So yeah, like it was a long old slog with the album, because it seemed to be fucking cursed getting it out there, to be honest.
Really?
I won't go into it too much, but you know, we had issues with just getting everyone in the one place. We had issues with, you know, fucking the recording and mixing process.
When was this, Con? Give us a time scale. Was this 2019? Or was
it was recorded in 2019. We started.
Fuck it. Can you imagine if you left it right into COVID? It'd be a different animal altogether. Like, it wouldn't have got done, basically, would it? Because you're a lot of it got done during COVID. A lot of the mixing. Oh, really?
Got done. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it ran into
probably
that.
The perfect time to be mixing and mastering all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you know? Yes and no. Like, we weren't able to get into the studio. We did a lot of mixing sessions with Aidan from Kitten Lane, where we recorded.
Shout out to Aidan O'Mahony. He did some job. Yep.
So a lot of it was done over Zoom, and yeah, look, I'm not one really for fucking dwelling too much on the past. We got what we wanted, I think. Yeah. In the end, and it's been a long road, and we learned a fuck ton. Basically, we really did, and so those kind of lessons are invaluable as well. And if the trade off for those lessons is, you know, a couple of months of being fucking annoyed with the whole thing, then that's a small price to pay, I think.
Yeah. How many of those songs? There's 6 on the album, Echoes of the Earth. You've more or less, have you played them all live, or is there one or two that you haven't?
We played them all live. Yeah. Have we played the
War of the Doves?
I played the intro to War of the. No, we have actually. We played in the Kino. So we played everything. Yeah.
Cool. Howard, what do you think of the process that they went through? I mean, you know, playing live in practice, and then I know yourself and Shawnee had a good talk about that. Shawnee's a good advocate as well for playing live if a band has their.
If you can do it, I'd highly recommend it. Yeah. I mean, there's something about it that's really difficult to capture from just kick tracking stuff. But having said that, I mean,
what are the advantages of it?
The advantage is you hear what a band sounds like, as opposed to what an imagination of that would sound like, and that's a big difference. I know it sounds a bit fucking out there, but there is a big difference. Having said that, with Part Alone, I could not see us doing anything live. You know, I don't think that we'd have the patience for it, and the ability to pull it off in that space of time in the way that we'd like to hear it back. I mean, it could take fucking 6 months for us to record one song. You know, it's just the way it is. And then you go into Magnapina and we wrote a song in the fucking studio and recorded it. You know. But I'm a huge fan of that method of practicing like fuck and going into the studio extremely fresh and everybody's on point, and you go in and you belt it out. There's a great feeling from it, and I think that does translate across when you're recording that way. Definitely get that energy that you wouldn't otherwise get, you know.
Well, it would suit certain members of bands more so than other ones, you know.
100%. I mean, for me personally, I'm definitely on the live side of stuff. I mean, we've Part-Alone songs that have been written. They're 2 years old now, and I'm doing the exact same thing I was doing the first practice that we played that fucking thing, and I'm singing the exact same phonetic lines and phrases that I've been saying from that exact day. But Alan has changed his drum patterns immeasurably in 100 times, and Cian has changed his guitar lines another million times, you know. So everybody is different in that sense, but it's pointless a band like that going in and recording live, because you're not capturing what's going on. You're just capturing an idea, and then sometimes that idea isn't fleshed out, and and you can overthink things as well, but it's important to put a bookend on it too. But sometimes you got to let the song develop like that, and you know, ultimately the reward is a little bit better. But definitely I would much prefer that method of going in and cranking it out. You know, you just can't beat that feeling. You can't beat that, capturing that sense.
Have you an experience of both, Con?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I think that, like, while Howard was talking about that there, I just remembered, like, the difference between, even with Soothsayer, the first Soothsayer EP, it was tracked. We tracked it down in data recordings with Tig Hickey, I want to say.
Tig Hickey, yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, fucking hero, man. What a great guy. Yeah. But that was like our first studio experience as a band, and you know, we stayed down in the studio. We went down for a couple of days and couple of nights. We were up at 10 o'clock in the morning recording until 12 o'clock at night. But it was all tracked, so there was only one of us in there at a time. Mm-hmm. And like, I can remember tracking my stuff, and I was sitting down on a chair, just plugged in and playing, and just concentrating on what I was playing, but there was no real feeling to it, I guess. But then when we recorded At This Great Death, we did it in our practice room. Eamon Coleman recorded it for us, and we were all given it socks when we were playing. Yeah, you know, like fucking, we were throwing hair and fucking leaping about the place and stuff like that. And you know, I think that comes across in the music. No, that might be naive of me, but whatever. I think, like, obviously you can't fucking hear it, but you can kind of almost hear it. You know, when someone is given a performance socks over just sitting there and going to do a click, which, you know, look, if you're a fucking tech death metal band or a prog band or something, then that's going to work for you. But if you are like, we have this moniker of fucking atmospheric, and you can't really claim to be atmospheric if you're sitting there and playing to a metronome on your own in a room. The only way you're going to get real atmosphere out of something is by playing together and just
there's definitely when it comes to collective stuff, I agree with you. But on the other side of it, I mean, what I did find as you know, trying to adapt to that with Part-Alone, and when we were doing stuff, is when you are in the room by yourself with the headphones on and you're listening to just your guitar and you're playing back the click, there is a point where you have it all blocked out and you're really, really focusing on what this is about and where it's coming from. And it does help you focus on what that is. You're not really aware of everybody else. So there are advantages to either way. I definitely would prefer to do it the live route, to hold it through, just everybody feeding off each other. But certainly when it comes to the more personal passages in the Part-Alone stuff, there are points where I'm kind of glad to a certain degree that no one else is part of that, you know, 3 or 4 minutes that you're concentrating what it is you were singing about initially, because it can be hard to capture those initial feelings too when you come up with a riff for the first time or a passage for the first time. Of course, you know, and sometimes sitting down by yourself with just the headphones on helps you recapture it or reconnect with it. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
It's an
age-old debate. It really
is. I was just going to say it, yeah. And again, if you've got a good engineer and a producer there as well, that can sometimes just basically say, yes, you're on the right track, or no, you know what, fucking... that could obviously fuck up your rhythm as well. You know, if he's not happy and he's telling you fucking retake, the emotion then slowly drains out
That's
of it,
it. I
doesn't
mean,
it?
the studio is a very vibey place, you know. Everybody has vibes in the studio, and it's easy to kind of disrupt the flow of things, and sometimes that can be used to your advantage, I guess. But more often than not, it's not a good thing.
Especially for a singer, I would say, more so than anything else. More
so, I think so. Yeah, for vocals in the studio is always a weird thing. You really do have to remove yourself from the fact that you're in a studio. You really have to kind of, go back into your brain a little bit and speak to yourself, I guess, is the way I think about it. You know, speaking to yourself, fucking shouting at yourself, telling yourself to cop on. You know.
Yeah. We'll just go through, Con. The title, Echoes of the Earth. Who came up with it, and is there a story behind it?
Oh, that would be Liam. Yeah, Liam came up with it. I think it was pulled from some of the lyrics in the song. We tend to do that a bit, where we'll record the songs and then look through the lyrics and see what kind of suits the whole recording. Then we did it with At This Great Depth, and now with this new album as well. So it's I suppose it's like all our stuff. All our stuff is heavily influenced by just the fucking surrounding political and environmental climate, and just the fact that humans have, I don't even know at what point, but we've gotten it heavily wrong, really, and it's our frustration and our anger at that, but also I like what I've always thought about our music is that there's a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, but there's also an awful lot of hope in it. That there is a way out of it, and I suppose Echoes of the Earth kind of is, is kind of almost taking that feeling and making it literal.
Yeah, I mean, he did artwork as well, Liam.
He does all our artwork, and he's always done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it's improving every time. I presume, Howard, you've seen the artwork for it, yeah?
Of course, yeah.
It's fabulous, isn't it?
I've known Liam since he was a fucking child, since he was about 16, knocking on the door of the Crush
knee high to a grasshopper.
And he was always that way creative. He was always coming up with he was doing the early Days and Night covers and things like that as well. And he did a lot of poster work back in the day too. He's an incredible kid. He really was, and he's he's been on a bit of a journey, and it's it's great to see him still doing it, and I never any doubt that he wouldn't be, unless he fucking ended up dead somewhere. But thankfully he hasn't. He's fucking here, and he's he's doing his best.
Yeah, I'm glad you said.
We actually had Liam step in one time I remember Andy lost his voice in Five Will Die, and Liam did a run of gigs with us, and he was only, I'd say he must have been shy of 20, and stepped in and did Andy's shoes and did a fucking great job, He even copied his signature moves of hanging off the ceiling in the Crush game.
Because
I've always been a big fan of Liam.
Because he did go on a journey.
A literal one, yeah.
Yeah, literal journey, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
If you asked me 15 years ago what would happen to Liam, you'd guess it, like.
Yeah. And I loved. He's very creative, literally wise as well. But he did
Langer on him too.
I believe you on that.
There's a story with that too. If you ever have man ask him about his Langer, it's a fucking. It's epic. It's fucking epic.
It's a grand old Langer.
I'm not going there. No. The boys now are on the whiskey and happy days, and shame Liam. You're not going to fucking shame him. We'll just leave it at that.
Why would he be ashamed about having a fucking delicious Langer?
There's no shame in that fucker.
Not at all. He'd be delighted.
I've seen Liam have a cockfight on stage.
Yeah.
Really?
a literal cockfight at an all ages gig, actually, during the day in fucking Baker's Place in Limerick.
Was that with Barry?
That was with Clitoral Defecation. Himself and Barry had a cock off.
Yeah.
I love the name Clitoral Defecation. Yeah, sums it up really.
Shit in a cunt and fuck it was the lyric. Oh, it was a nice Sunday afternoon just after Mass. The lads decided to play a gig, and having been on the session for fucking 24 hours, and I don't think the set was 10 seconds old and the cocks were out, like, you know.
So where did Liam go on? He did a kind of mini tour of the world, really. Pakistan, or where did he go?
He went to India.
India, was it? Okay.
Yeah, but no, I'm no fucking geographic genius, but I'm pretty sure India takes up something like 84% of the world. It's a big ass country, like. So he did his rounds over there, and like some of the stories that he came back with, it's surprising he came back with it all. It seemed like a fucking mental place, and he actually came back early because of the COVID thing. He was saying that things were kicking off there, and that the Indians, not to be confused with Native Americans, they're different folks.
Glad you clarified that one.
Clarified butter, ghee. They're into that stuff in India. But they're so he came back a little bit earlier. He was due to spend a year over there, and he came back a little bit earlier, just due to the fact that the Indians over there were just blaming like foreigners for bringing COVID into their country, so it was getting pretty violent over there, and I think the embassy contacted him and were like, hey, you need to come home. So he did.
Like, had he had the songs at that stage done, worked
the songs
out,
were recorded. So the songs were recorded, so we were in the mixing stage at that point.
And like, as I said, like he was going away for a year.
He was heading away for a year, yeah. So he headed off in, I think, July, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And so, he was looking to come back a year after then, but I think he came back maybe late June or something like that.
Okay.
I'm not quite a Liam historian. I hope to be someday, but
I don't think
currently I'm not. I'm not an anything historian. I don't fucking remember yesterday, I'll be perfectly honest with you.
But like,
not much happened yesterday anyway, Con. It's not worth remembering.
It's all bleeding together, man, isn't it?
But like, when he left, there was no COVID, so when he was coming back, were he gearing up to do a tour? What was the thinking behind Soothsayer when he left?
You see, so we had been talking to different bands about doing gig swaps and stuff, and I think that worked really, really well for us when, you know, and I'm sure, Howard, you're probably well aware of this fucking thing that, you know, you play, let's say a band comes over to Cork and you're supporting them, and you get on well with the band, and you're like, oh hey, we should definitely set it up. We should definitely set it up so that we go over and play in, you know, whatever country you're from. And like, pretty much all the time that band will be like, oh yeah, that's great idea, we'll definitely do it. And then you're onto them like, oh yeah, so shall we do it? And they're just like,
90% of the time, that's the scenario, really.
I think it's more than 90%. But we really lucked out with Wolf Council when they came over and they played in Fred's, and we supported them.
Shout out to Ralph.
Ralphie.
Shout out to Ralph, yeah. The two Ralphs and the rest of the lads as well were fucking great lads. But that was one time that you get on with a band, you're like, fuck, I could tour with these guys. And so, you know, us being on an island, it's kind of difficult to get over. Like, we can't fucking drive to another country realistically and play gigs, and that's very, very unfortunate, because if we could, I think there'd be a way more fucking like well-known Irish bands.
It'd be a different landscape for sure. You know, it's hard to know. Like, it'd be better for the bands, I guess, but it's hard to know how it would influence what kind of music is coming out of the country as well. It's hard to know.
Maybe
I certainly would prefer to be able to drive to fucking France and fucking Holland and Germany.
But I mean, technically, these people can drive to fucking Russia if they want, like, you know. And actually, and Yet there's a bridge from Russia to fucking Africa. you know,
and the earth is flat. It's fucking great, sure.
Your mama's flat.
We're on about Liam here now. So
all right, man. Yeah, no. So we're not. We've passed that. Okay, Liam's got enough time.
Yeah, Liam's got enough fucking airtime.
Yeah, he really has. So yeah, no, it was great, like meeting up with Ralph, because Ralph is one of those very few people who actually follows through. He wasn't paying lip service, and so he was like, yeah, definitely, we should definitely do that, and he followed through, and not followed through shit himself. He followed through with the plan, and
So Soothsayer were in Switzerland.
We went to Switzerland, yeah, and we played a couple of gigs, and it was a fucking great time. Man, like the Swiss know how to look after bands over there.
For fuck's sake! I was reading yesterday was the band Russian Circles, who were scheduled to do a tour in 2020 in Switzerland, and the fucking arts councils in Switzerland subsidised them, knowing that they couldn't play, pay them anyway, paid them their guarantees, even though they never fucking left the country. I mean, that's the sort of fucking thing you fucking need, you
Dream
know.
of.
We played in a venue in St. Gallen, and it's like what Cypress Avenue is now, and it's like all fucking, well, not all, but mostly paid for by the government over there.
Yeah.
And it's, like they're putting on metal gigs almost exclusively.
Yeah.
And they're getting money to put on metal gigs over there. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, when,
but are the crowds coming, Con? Like, are the people turning up for this? Like,
oh, there was a very good crowd there that night. Yeah. Cool. We had loads of crowd, and like we were headlining that night, so we took it in turn between us and Wolf Council on that tour to headline. So they would headline the night, we'd headline the next night, sort of a thing.
Someone shouted.
Like,
he's back. Okay.
Huh?
You just broke up there, went into the cosmos and came back. You're okay.
Lunar correspondence, you know.
Yeah. Nice one, Howard, actually. Very good. Don't worry.
Don't do.
Come on, Con. Come back to us.
I live in the middle of nowhere. It's a miracle.
I know. I'm not criticizing.
45 minutes from the city. Go out of
that. Okay. Talk to us, Con.
I'm just going to shut my wife.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah. Just get the missus off the Wi-Fi there and the kids off fucking PlayStation, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Do you want to disconnect the PlayStation there from the interwebs?
Oh my god!
This is why I don't like technology, man.
Nah, don't worry about it. We'll get you through it, right? So you played Switzerland, and the question was: had you gigs set up when Liam came back from Pakistan or India? I should say, from India.
We had a few, nothing major.
Okay.
But we definitely had plans on doing major things, I suppose, and that's what I'm tying back to. There's bands that we've played with, like Wolf Council and stuff, that are the exception to the rule, where they're like, oh yeah, definitely come over and fucking play gigs with us, and so we had a bunch of those things set up, and unfortunately shit went sideways and we weren't able to do those things.
Okay. So
but look, hopefully fucking
you just can't even fucking
when all this shit blows over.
Who knows, man? It's, I'm fucking fairly negative about it at this stage. I mean, when you're looking at like kind of
it's a bollock.
When you're looking at Zentrix and the likes of them fucking postponing till 2022 now, you're just going, fuck me.
I think you're going to see a whole different dynamic over the next 12 months. The longer it goes on, you really are going to see various things happening to various bands. It's just not going to be people's priority, and that's the real danger in it all. No, it's really going to be survival of the fittest at the end of it all, I think.
And it's so frustrating because you lads have been around for fucking years. I mean, I'm 50 now, and I mean,
happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Birthday, Richie.
I'm one of the vulnerable now, apparently, Con.
You
I have to look after myself.
Oh, really?
I'm one of the vulnerable. Imagine. Fuck's sake.
You've always been sexually vulnerable around me anyway. There's always a danger that I'll fucking give you an old twiddle.
You had your chance for the wraparound
It's
in
more
the
a promise
siege,
than a danger.
and you were too fucking drunk. That's all I'll say.
What?
See, you can't even fucking remember that. Oh my God.
Well, in fairness, no, there's many a fellow who's offered me a wraparound, and you know, you're not too high up on that list.
Actually, it was you who were offering me, but anyway, we'll move on.
Well,
So let's
reach around, is it?
reach
That's
around.
a different thing altogether.
Whatever.
Here.
So come here.
Can you do that over Zoom?
Well, Howard managed to do
tried
it
it
one
once.
time, and he pushed the whole poster right through the screen at me.
The magic of technology. You think you're fucking bad at technology and try to hand Richie a fucking poster.
And then asked me later, what did I think of it? I'll treasure it forever, Howard.
Oh, fucking hell.
Let's move on to Brett, who mastered it. Why choose Brett? Was that a connection through you?
He's a fucking wizard, man.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
He is plain and simple a wizard. Like that dude. Look, very plain, very simple. If Devin Townsend gets onto a dude and asks him to master his stuff, then that guy knows what he's fucking at. And he's mastered stuff for Megadeth. He's mastered stuff for fucking Devin Townsend.
Cynic, Sacred Reich.
It's a ridiculous amount of stuff. That guy is a fucking wizard. Like,
how did it come about?
When we were doing the first EP, the Soothsayer EP, we looked up just, you know, a bunch of different places, and we saw him, and we were just like, okay, this guy has done just so much fucking great stuff. And just out of interest, like, how much does he cost? And we were like, fuck, he's actually really reasonable. Like, let's just go for this. And in fairness to the guy, if you go to his site, he has like a page dedicated to everyone that he's either mixed or mastered. And it's just like the fucking who's who of metal. Basically, he's just got a shit ton of big names on the thing. And then also idiots like us. And but like I went to his page like a couple of months back when we were talking about getting him to master the album, and like I clicked on the thing, and it was just our band came up, and it was our band profile. And so, you know, the fact that he's doing that, but he's not just pushing like, oh, I did shit for these big boys. He was like, you know, I also did shit for these not so big boys. And that to me was just like, I fucking love this guy. You know, the fact that he's gone, I also did this. I had checked these guys out. I just love that. I was very happy with that, and instantly I saw that, and I was just like, yeah, we're getting this guy in. So
and came in reasonable price wise, Con.
Oh, really reasonable. Yeah. Like, you see, I always feel guilty when people are like, "Oh yeah, we'll master your music for like $100 a song," and then we're like, "Okay, but our songs are like 15 minutes long." Like, I kind of feel like a bit of an asshole. So yeah, I can't remember exactly what we were charged, but it was extremely reasonable, and like I cannot recommend the guy highly enough. Yeah. He's a really good guy. He really does he puts the work in. He puts a lot of time into it, and he lives and breathes the fucking music.
Yeah.
He's an incredible guy. He really is.
And you've and communication wise, then how was that established? Through Zoom again, or was it, or through emails, or?
No, it was just through emails. To be honest, at that point, I had kind of gotten fed up with corresponding with people. I kind of disappeared into a reclusive black hole for a while, and so Liam dealt with Brett for the mastering. So yeah, and look, it didn't matter because I knew it was Brett. Brett's going to do a great job. Brett is fucking great.
So he had a good few guests on it as well.
We did, yeah.
I want to talk about Eugene Robinson of Oxbow.
Yeah, I'd imagine when the album comes out that a lot of people want to talk about that.
Fuck me. What a band. I've never actually heard of them.
Oh, really?
Oh, no.
So
I tell you.
It was our album led you to them.
What?
Yeah.
Yes, it was your album and my research.
Okay.
Led me to them. Yeah, I'd never heard of them before. They are
Cork a couple of times from what I remember.
What? No.
It's a while ago now. I was quite young at the time, but
they played the Cruise Scheme.
The Cruise Scheme.
No, it wasn't. They played the Cruise Scheme about fucking, I don't know,
20 years
15
ago?
15 years ago.
Was it that
15, I'd say.
15? There was fuck all people at it.
There was about 15 people in the crowd, Yeah, it was terrible. But my God, that guy. Speaking of world-class frontman, he is incredibly good.
Very intense. Great show. Extremely
intense. And like
how would you describe the band? They're kind of post-metal hardcore, but then there's this orchestra stuff going on in the background, jazz, fucking man. Whew. As I said,
it's very hard. It's very hard to put your finger on it, and I think it seems like retrospectively looking at it, it seems a very obvious choice to get a guest vocalist like him in on a Soothsayer album, because they mix so many genres of music, as do we, and they've just got this fucking intense frontman, as do we.
Yeah.
So it just seemed to go together. I think day one it was Eugene approached Liam, actually, weirdly enough, about his art on Instagram or some fucking thing. Jesus. On something that I'm not up on.
Right.
And he was just saying that, look, I'm a massive fan of your art and whatever, and the conversation got around to like, oh yeah, well, look, I'm in a band and check it out, and he was like sort of instantly a fan, and
Jesus Christ,
yeah, it was great because.
And the fact that they're playing Cork as well, which is the connection as well, like that's just bizarre.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Man, small world.
Yeah. Fuck.
But I wouldn't like to paint it. But yeah, he's like, he is such a fucking intense guy, Eugene, and he's like what I really really liked was that he came on like So the song he's on is War of the Doves, and it's like that song is probably as close to a pop song as I've ever written, excluding the intro.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd have to disagree with a pop song. No, you know what I mean? But it's a like a classic song structure. Yeah. There's verse, chorus, like, middle eight. The starter of it is Pink Floyd. I don't give a shit what you say. I hear Pink Floyd on that at the start.
Oh yeah, no, but what I'm talking about is forget about the intro. That's like normally when we write music, we're not thinking about structure. We're like, okay, we're going to play this riff, then we're going to play this riff, then we're going to play this riff, we're going to do this shit.
Okay.
And so there's where I never go like, okay, we need to go back to this because that's going to be the hook. I know, like, oh, fuck the hook. Look, we have loads of hooks. It'll be like fucking mackerel fishing. We'll have 6 hooks and just fucking horse it into the ocean. And fucking, it'll go through their heads, and it'll all be grand.
Fuck. Okay. All right. That's a good insight.
But this. Thanks, man.
Mackerel.
Yeah, mackerel, man. It gives you the insight. Omega-3. It's good for the brain. But so with that song was again that like I like to sort of challenge myself with songwriting stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write what is ostensibly like a pop song in structure.
Oh, okay.
You know, so
okay,
and so we did that intro, verse, chorus, middle 8, chorus.
Yeah.
If you're with me on that one. And he came on board, and he was just like, okay, yeah, I'm totally up for doing this song, but I'm going to do my own thing.
Oh.
And we were just like, okay, great, just
genius at work. Let him go. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, so like most of his work is actually done over the intro, which, to be honest, like the intro was this acoustic thing I had banging on in my head. So I write everything I write on acoustic. But I had this sort of intricate acoustic piece written for ages, and it makes no musical sense. It's just a fucking bizarre piece of music. And so I never thought anyone would be able to put any vocals over it. And he came on and he just did the weirdest shit ever.
I actually thought like that was Liam. Would you believe?
No.
Yeah. Because like the intro, I thought it was Liam, and he was adding the heavier vocals on it. But like, I mean, the whole track kicks off on the 2 minute mark when Pavel's bass and fuck.
Yeah.
But
the bass break,
it's unreal. And after 6 minutes, then there's a breakdown, Howard, and I'm not joking you. It's sludge at its finest. It's
I know what the song is. I just haven't heard his parts on it at all.
Like any fans, and I'm gonna say
the fucking thing.
Like,
play it.
See, now you're full of whiskey now. Like, and I'll get. But I mean,
do it live.
Like, I know, you know how big 10-ton slug are in Ireland. There's a huge following, but like that.
Well, they're 10 tons at least.
But that 6 minutes section in that song, you'll just get everybody going. Holy fuck!
What I'm really looking forward
what
to
sludge is like.
Is when you know when you get back up and running and all that kind of crack. He comes over and does it live.
Oh, wouldn't that be a thing?
I would love if he did that. I would absolutely love if that was possible. I know, like, because I'm spoiling your next bit now, aren't I, Richie?
Yeah.
Because you're going to talk about so I'll shut up.
Yeah.
But
thanks, God.
Yeah. Well, I fucking avoided it, didn't I?
We've got telepathy going here, man. You know.
I'm a soothsayer. What can I say?
Yeah,
enjoyed it. Yeah, no, I really did, and I really think that there's he seemed to really like doing it. He did a fucking great job. He really did.
And I'm glad you brought up singers. So you'd Paul Catton.
Oh yeah.
Big shout out to Paul. And he
Medulla Nocte and Murder One and a bunch of other
bands, he was on 6 of Nothing.
6 of Nothing, yeah.
What was the connection between Paul and yourselves?
As long as I've known Liam has talked about Paul Catton as being one of his major influences. And so it was Liam who contacted him, just as far as I'm aware, without any previous correspondence, just like fucking chancing his arm, just like, hey, this is our stuff. Any chance you'd be up for doing something? And he sent him a track, and he was on board almost immediately. So it's, you know, like, I was aware of the guy. I'm not going to lie and say that I was the world's biggest fan of his stuff. As I said, I was aware of him, but never went really in depth into his stuff. Yeah. So it was Liam pretty much who just had contact with the guy, and
Ralph added to the old chance as well on that.
Yeah, Ralph he came on. He did some harmonies with my. So again, like, I would do the clean vocals in Soothsayer, and it just made sense at the time. Like, fucking Ralph.
Of course, Ralph was living in Ireland at that time, was he?
No.
Or was he? Was he over in? He was over in Switzerland.
Ralph, he was in Switzerland at the time.
All right.
Ralph, of course, plays with like Wolf Council is his main band. He's also with Requiem and Poltergeist and
Poltergeist.
He's a busy man when it comes to music, but he was totally on board from day one. Like he was almost like I didn't have to ask the guy to do stuff, and he's got just this really distinctive, strong voice, and he's got a fucking great understanding of harmonies and check
out his YouTube channel, crucially for bass lessons.
Ginger Bass, man.
Shout out.
Actually, so next, I think is it next Thursday? He's doing. My wife has walked past and she's offered me a splishy splashy, so I'm going to. I'm gonna take advantage of that.
Splash and have that bat.
Take advantage of my wife also very, very often.
Anyway, there will be a bit of editing, but be sure to check out Ralph's
Fuck off!
bass lessons. What's his YouTube channel, Con? Do you know?
Ginger Bass.
Ginger Bass, nice one. Yeah.
You should find that pretty handy.
You'll find it on Facebook pretty quick.
And we're going to make him an honorary Irishman probably next year. If
not even honorary or Irishman, he is now an Irishman.
Has he moved? Has he?
Yeah, he's here now.
Yes,
man. That dude has a dirty Irish accent. Like,
fuck, we love him, man.
Really does.
And he looks Irish as well, which always helps. The old ginger.
He's the bean off an Irish. Like he could have been one of the fucking captains of the warring lads in War of the Buttons.
Actually, I have a fucking 2 seconds.
Oh, here we go. We've got knowing Howard is photographic evidence.
Well, hopefully it's his ass.
Well,
that's the real treat.
That would be it would be expected.
I'm sure if you can see that.
Ralphie? Oh, that is Ralphie, yeah.
Jesus nice. Christ, class. You're some man for the momentum, Howard.
We played a gig up in our last gig I played live actually with Magnet Pina in Dublin. Ralph and Anna came along to it, and Christian did a little portrait of him.
Class.
Yeah. No, they're great folk, and they are currently living around the corner from me, which is
that's great news, man. Because I remember when he was leaving, heading back to Switzerland. I was just going, Jesus, I hope he actually comes back. I'd say it was a bit of heavy heart he was leaving because he enjoyed himself so much. Because that was Monolith 2019.
Absolutely. Oh man, fucking Monolith. He
was
champion.
Did an incredible job.
Man of the match. Great.
And Anna as well, to be fair.
They both were phenomenal. They would not have happened. And we would not have had as many people coming away from that thing as happy as they were without those guys involved. It was just they put in ferocious amount of work.
Particularly from a playing point of view. I mean, the guy was he was just on the ball. There was no fucking about. It was, look, you've got 5 minutes to get your shit together, and you're playing a gig, and then you're getting the fuck off the stage, and you're done. And it was just the perfect way to manage it. He did it with a smile on his face. Nobody felt pissed off about it. He was just straight to your face about it. Well, one or two, but it was inarguable. You could not argue with the man. He was right.
No, absolutely not. He was absolutely right. He was well within his the realm of justice to be 100%. Like turn around and just go fucking do your shit. Yeah. You're here to do your shit. Just do your shit.
And he took that tension away between bands as well. Of bands playing over into other people's slots and so on. He was just a buffer for all that, and he fucking took it like a champ.
You know what? Like we started off that gig. I think 2 hours behind.
Yeah, the gear was late, wasn't it?
So the back line was fucking 2 hours late, which technically should have put us 2 hours behind. And the man worked his hole off so much that by the time the first band came on, we were something like about 40 minutes behind. And then by the 4th or 5th band, we were bang on fucking track.
Yes.
So that's how quickly he turned that shit around, and that is just it's incredible for anyone who's ever worked backstage or anyone who's ever fucking organized a gig, or Jesus Christ, anyone who's ever been at a gig. That time. It's unheard of.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
But what you're forgetting, Con, as well, you have to tell people as well, they don't know Ralph, that Ralph is coming from years of experience with bands and doing that shit as well. Like,
but there's a reason.
This is not a random dude. Like,
no, it's not. There's a reason I got Ralph on board, and it's because he's, like Ralph has run tours for Carcass. You know,
so
like
people don't know that.
Ralph is heavy metal royalty, albeit behind the scenes heavy metal royalty, but you know. Without the need for a crown, like he's not going to be sitting on a fucking bulletproof mobile riding through towns, fucking doing this. Like, but
I don't think people realize how big a role he played in other bands across Europe and festivals as well. That's my point, you know.
He's a humble guy. He doesn't sing it from the. You know, he's not in it for the placards or the rewards or the fucking praise. He genuinely seems to love what he does.
He was a fucking fantastic acquisition, and it's great to fucking know that he's actually decided to.
We're lucky to have him over here.
Stay in Ireland now, man. It's great.
Just a shame the way things are at the moment, you know, because he's going to be a real asset. He's going to be another Pavel. You know, he's coming in, and
no, he is absolutely, no, he's like I really look forward to what that dude is going to do for the scene.
Brilliant.
Yeah, very much so.
And the last guest appearance then was on True North, and of course it is the Dave Ingram effect.
Yeah.
How bad, man. Benediction, Hellfrost, and Fire. What a legend. I think, at a guess, would I be saying that it was Liam again? I know that Liam interviewed him for one.
I think that was more of a team effort. Like we played a festival in Slovakia, Gatum. The main man from Dumas, that band, I think you were at that gig, Dumas, when they played.
Yeah, they played it. I think we played with him, actually, or maybe big guy, shaved head.
Pavel's band,
They played here, but the main dude, Peter, he runs a festival, which is like I'm a big fan of slightly smaller festivals. You know, I will never go to Vakin again in my life. I like the festivals where you can go and there's a good chance of you meeting the bands and just, you know, not having to deal with 100,000 fucking absolute wankered shitbags. And so, like, if you were planning to go to a festival, I would highly recommend going to Gatum. Anyway, fucking Just Before Dawn was the band that Ingram was playing. Ingram played with. He did an album with Bolt Thrower.
Yeah.
Is it Honor, Strength, Valor? Is that the one? Am I getting that right?
I would say so. At a guess, I would say
it
so.
Does, yeah. Something about war, anyway.
Something about swords and fucking drinking from skulls or something.
Something about war.
I think you're spot on there. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So we played a festival with them, and he was in a band with Gustav Mirin, who was the founding member of Amon Amarth. He played another guy who was in the band was what's his name? Johnny Peters. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know. But anyway, a fucking bunch of people who were like unsung fucking heroes of metal, and they killed the shit out of it. Weirdly enough, they had us marked as one of their bands that they wanted to see. Okay. So we played pretty early on in the day. I think we played at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the day, when most people were asleep. which in fairness, fuck most people, because like it's probably the performance I'm most proud of in my life. And
it's on YouTube, actually, I think, if anyone wants to go see it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's some clips of Liam fucking climbing up some fucking thing.
Climbing the fucking thing, man. Eddie Vedder'ing the shit out of it. Yeah. So there's those metal pillars, and then the fucking thing going across. Like, Liam wrapped the mic around his neck and in like instrumental bits, and just climbed up the fucking thing. And it was just, it was great. It was a great gig. Honestly, I remember like going out in the beginning and just being terrified, because it was our first festival performance, and I was just shitting myself and just hitting loads of bum notes. But we started off actually with the Outer Fringe, and so I used my volume pedal at the beginning of that, and I kept my volume pedal really, really low, because my hands were shaking so much that I was just like, I'm hitting so many fucking bum notes. I'm fucking terrified. I'm trying not to do it. It was short-haired Con as well at the time, and that guy's a pussy. Yeah. But we got through it, and as time went on, fucking we rocked the shit out of it. But the lads were just amazed by the performance, and they came up to us afterwards, and they were just like, lads, we're fucking like huge fans of what you just did there. And so it seemed only fair that we'd be like, oh yeah, you're huge fans, well, fucking do a guest vocal slot on our album then, you prick. But and so he did.
So Dave did, yeah,
he did. And look, it's a huge get, because like he's quite famous for being a Satanist. I guess he's is a warlock in the fucking Church of Satan or something. Yeah. I'm not joking. That's not a joke, man. He's actually like the grand.
I know it is. It's a joke.
Yeah, no, he's the grand high wizard of Satanism or whatever.
Wizard, you're a fucking joke.
Well, look, I think. Yeah, I don't know, but he's fairly high up in that fucking.
He's fairly fucking high, alright.
Go on, Howard, take him down. Frantically.
Look, talent to fucking burn, but lads, if you're going to call yourself a wizard or a warlock, fuck off, you know.
I'm going to start calling myself a fucking warlock, so.
Well, at the moment, I would say you get into a man of Mart at the moment with the hair, you know. So moving on.
What the fuck does that mean?
So how did you get Rory involved anyway with the outstanding video to Outer Fringe?
Well, Rory is someone who I Raj, as we'll.
Raj.
So Rory is his Rory is his alter ego.
Oh, Bognell. Yeah, that's his old or whatever.
Yeah. Or something like that.
Yeah. But Roger Martis.
He's that dude is a fucking superhero, plain and simple. There's so much that he does for the scene, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Just a
shout out to Curse Monk Records as well.
Absolutely, Curse Monk Records have put out consistently amazing stuff, and Raj just fucking support the guy, because if you don't, you know, these people would disappear without support. And whatever about going out and fucking supporting the bigger labels, like they'll survive without support. People like Raj possibly won't. But then at the same time, there's like fucking people are so vehemently proud of what that guy is doing, and rightly so, that I don't think the dude is ever going to go hungry either, you know. How are those finished beers working out for you?
This is the fucking whiskey now. No, it's nothing to do with the finished beers. It's the fucking whiskey. I'll fucking fight you. Yeah, so like Tomb's album, Tomb's album got fantastic praise, and rightly so. And I'm just wondering, did you fucking come across it? That's all I'm asking.
Of course I did.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But an Irish band. Okay, so maybe it's not. Maybe it's not clear to everybody, but I promote music. I put gigs on.
See, I'm going to edit this out, and no matter what you say. Yeah.
But part of that process is listening to the bands that you're going to put on, and
exactly. So it's in my interest to listen to every band.
Yeah.
Now, there are shit bands I listen to. I will not name them because it's not professional.
Yeah.
But there are other bands who I absolutely listen to all of the time.
But part of that is it's a labour of love, Richie, when you're listening to bands like that with the intention of putting them on. Because, like, without shitting on anybody, there is a lot of shit you have to listen to.
Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%.
And, like, a lot of
wank.
But a lot of that is a lot of bands that you listen to and you're not instantly hooked into. You do take a chance with them, to give them a chance to see what they can produce live and so on. But Tombs are one of those bands that you know you're going to get something decent out of them, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a case if you listen to there's another fucking record by another Irish band. It's an outstanding record. Like it's fucking, you know, it does creep above that threshold of what you can kind of tolerate to a certain point. Like,
yeah, because I mean it was and rightly so nominated for one of the best releases this year on the Metal Cell podcast, and I was just wondering about Con.
Undeserved.
I'm struggling to think what would challenge it, to be honest. That you know, it's definitely the standout one for me anyway. In more recent times, I actually can't think of anyone off the top of my head that comes close in terms of bands I've gone back to listen to again, you know. Particularly from Ireland, and that's not, like you said, it's not to shit on anybody. It's just that there are a lot of fucking bands in Ireland releasing a lot of stuff, and that doesn't exactly equate to quality.
Is he having a shit there or what?
I have to go for a wee wee.
He's got his finger up his bum.
Well,
oh my God,
I fucking wish. I have to go for a wee wee, but I'll be back in 2 minutes.
The disruption to this show.
You get nothing off this whiskey, Richie.
Huh? You said Powers is great.
Oh, that's the fucking job.
No, it isn't. Good thing.
Can we go back to Curse Monk Records, please, and Roger?
Yeah.
And the brilliant job he's doing with the Irish metal scene.
What do you think of Tombs, Con?
What? I think that Tombs are really good. Fuck off, Richie. This is a beast of your own fucking
This
design.
is a fucking B-roll. That's what you mean.
You were Dr. Frankenstein, and you brought this beast upon yourself.
So Roger runs Curse Monk Records. Imagine
he runs Curse Monk Records, and you know what? That dude has. I was going to say he's got an eye for fucking great bands. He's got an ear for great bands.
Good.
And he does a fucking great job. He really, really does. I think I'd love to work with the guy in future.
Okay.
Just purely from he lives it. He really does, and there's no other way of putting it. He is.
What do you think of his drone music? Actually, I
fucking love it.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it.
Howard?
I'm not a fan, if I'm honest, but like that's not to say it's not it's not good or anything. You know, it's just not to my taste, I guess. But I like seeing that kind of thing. I mean, it's always interesting to see something a little bit different. And
look, it's in a way it's performance art. You know?
I mean it's crosses that bridge.
That sums it up.
And, you know, I did a degree in fucking sculpture, and part of that was performance art, and a lot of that stuff. I don't enjoy it because of the experiences of learning it in college and doing a degree and whatnot. I never found it fun. And when I see people doing it, I kind of go, oh, Christ, it just hits me in a place that I just don't like it.
But it was a perfect marriage for Soothsayer.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
And I think that's where it becomes interesting to me, is when you marry it with something like that. But when you stand out alone, I'm not really a fan. And I'd say the same with the Neurosis stuff. Where you got the Tribes and Neurat, those noises in the background. When you listen to it separate from the music, the wall of noise. I'm not a big fan of it, but you see,
it needs context, like, you know, and it's as simple as that. Without context, it's, you know, like, that sort of stuff needs to be experienced live. And for me, Raj, like, we've had him with the Paranoid Beast stuff. We've had him on a bunch of shit, and it's amazing between acts, and like as sort of a ritual to open up the, you know, like to be the opening act on a festival, for example, where I love seeing fucking people reacting to it, because you inevitably have people who don't like it, and that's fair enough. You also have people who are like dancing to it, and then you have people who are like meditating to it, and there's just this fucking wide spectrum of reaction, and I think that's what great art does. You know, like it causes a reaction, and it may not necessarily be a good reaction, but it's a fucking reaction nonetheless, and that's what Raj does.
Yeah, and he's got some great bands on his roster, Nomadic Rituals as well.
Absolutely,
yeah. He's pretty good in the quality. I mean, the stuff that he's putting out through the record label there, Curse Monk, is, you know, it's definitely something to be interested in, or to be aware of, I think, for anybody who's into outsider kind of music in the context of the darker side of music here in Cork and across the country. It probably is the place to go to get that fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely huge underground supporter and pillar of the Irish metal underground as well. Big shout out to Roger. Yeah. It's great to acknowledge him.
Where I flipped the script. Yeah, so go through the album, right? You've got the songs. What was your initial reaction to?
It's a game changer. I think the whole thing works as an album rather than units, and I just love to wonder how did G kind of figure out from Fringe to North to True North. True North is the obvious one to end the album. The whole album is a really dark passage. It's, I would say, like an epic movie in some ways. There's some unbelievable soundscapes right across it, and you know, as a listener, you're brought on a massive journey. It's dark, it's depressing, but there's...
Is it though?
It is, it fucking is, man. But there's always, I think, through Liam, and through... There's a lot of guitar parts as well that give you hope, but you're only given you're only given glimmers of hope, and I like.
Yeah, but I mean that's my
own. This is only now after two listens. You asked me, Con. It's only after 2 whole listens of the whole thing.
Okay.
And I like the way that True North finishes, because it does give you that glimmer of hope. It does tell you to trust the madness that you're brought on. You know,
okay.
Because
can we do so you've listened to the songs a couple of times. Do you want to give your verdict on my favorite song by song?
Well, I was gonna, I would say out of all the songs, probably Cities of Smoke and War of Doves are my favorite at the moment. Okay. It's impossible. No, I haven't listened to it enough. I'm gonna have to listen to this album for probably at least 20 or 30 times to fucking break it down. There's so much going on with it.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. But at the moment,
there really is.
You know, I'm used to Outer Fringe because I've played it a rake of times, but War of Doves and City of Smoke, my God, the two of them, and as I said, the closing track, True North, gives us all hope. You've created a different landscape, musically wise, and I think, you know, genuinely, it's probably going to be one of the best releases of 2021.
Early contender for best album of the year.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, because a lot of people went with Tombs in the Metal Cell forums. A lot of people went with Tombs for the most complete album. It's a fucking fantastic, fantastic album.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
No shit. Think of Tombs, Con?
Never heard of him, man.
But
Eugene Toombs from the X-Files, the liver fellow. Oh, he's class, man. Hey, he's a good guy.
I genuinely hope Echoes of the Earth gets to the right amount of people, and that's down to.
I think it's primed to do really well. I think it's coming out at the right time for you guys. You know, it's been a steady build for a few years. When I first heard it, I was like, get that fucking thing out quick, you know. But I'm kind of glad in a way that it's taking this long.
I'm not.
God, if you were happy, something would be wrong, you know. I think if you're feel complete on something, it's a bad sign, you know. And I know what that feels like. I think you can feel too complete on things.
You know, originally I was going to argue, fuck you, I could be happy with stuff, but no, I can't. Yeah. You've got me there. You got me pegged.
Success is the death of endeavor, Con. We know it is.
Yeah, but like this is Howard now. This is Howard throwing it out because there's going to be a Partalon release in 2021 as well.
Well, here's hoping, man. Here's fucking hoping.
Here's hoping, and just finished the demos actually this week, Richie.
There will be a fucking Partalon release in 2021. Howard.
All the signs are there, but it really does depend on something kind of pandemic. All the signs are good, but I finished the demos there during the week, Richie. Actually,
great news.
Doing the demos from home, finishing a few touches on the lyrics and so on, and it's ready. It's just getting to the studio and all that fucking logistical shit that comes with it, and all the fun stuff of going back and forward between fucking various people, and it takes time. The fun stuff.
The not fun stuff at all.
Now, if you want the second there, you're always welcome to send it on, and we'll give you feedback.
I can actually. I might send John the artwork there. Actually,
it's better than nothing.
The draft of the artwork.
Picking at crumbs here at the moment, but I know.
I'm going to drip feed it. I'm fairly protective of it so far, but
I can understand that as well.
I'm very, very confident in it so far. But I'm looking forward to hearing the Soothsayer. You know, I think that
it's unbelievable.
from a personal point of view and a totally selfish point of view, I love it when a band releases something ahead of you, so you can go and you can listen to it and go, well, fuck you guys. we're gonna come back at it harder because of what we just listened to, you know.
Well, in fairness, Howard, like, how long have I been fucking bitching to you about like it not coming out?
It's been about 18 months.
Yeah, easily, and I've been furious about it, like.
And rightly so, but I'm kind of glad that it has taken as long as it's taken, because I mean, that was our intention as Partalon, was to go on tour in the UK before Brexit hit, you know, but sure, that's fucking gone now, and it doesn't seem viable at all in any capacity, you know.
Even
we don't know what we're looking at in general, regardless of the pandemic. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty across the board in many ways, and I think it's going to be quite some time before there's any sort of clarity for anybody in any sense, not just music, across all sectors and all businesses.
Oh, absolutely, man.
You know,
absolutely.
And like I was saying earlier, I mean, I really do think that we're looking at over the next 12 months, you're going to see the likes of myself and Con and people associated with the kind of thing that we do drop off the radar, because it's not going to be on the list of priorities. It's going to slowly filter down into what's important, you know.
And to be clear, what myself and yourself do is fucking deal with mental health.
Absolutely.
And that is not a fucking priority of the government at the moment.
Absolutely.
It really isn't.
And you're getting to that time where the cracks are starting to show across society and across people that you would know well.
Oh, big time, man. Big fucking time.
The strongest personalities are starting to get vulnerable and starting to panic and starting to not see a brighter future for us all, you know. But you know, all you can do is shoulder through it and hope we come through it.
Who can blame them?
But what I will say is that, like, and I know I'm not trying to speak on behalf of Con, but I'm certainly would say that he's in the same boat.
How dare you?
We certainly have the endeavour to do it, to make sure that we're in the shape to present these things to people when it does pass, and to be in a position to do that. But we can't guarantee anything. Neither of us can. We don't know what the fuck is around the corner, you know. What I can say is that we have good people involved in all different angles of this thing, hoping and wanting to provide something for people to go and see when we can open up again, you know.
And look, like my job, I thought was fucking fairly certain before this shit happened, and it's just fucking disappeared. Plain and simple. Like I don't have a job at the moment. And it's and to my mind, it's an important job, like fucking counselling. It's a massively important job, but it seems to be the first thing to go. Anytime there's any cutbacks or anything like that, it's just like, oh yeah, we'll just cut back on mental health, which is fucking bonkers, because surely if we are in some sort of fucking predicament as a country, that should be the thing that's, you know, at the foremost of our thoughts, is the mental well-being of people. And it isn't at all. It's the fucking opposite of that. It's like the funding for that shit goes way down.
Yeah, 100%. And that's just the way it is at the moment with the government, you know. But that's just a whole different rabbit hole. But I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Let's talk about Big Willies instead.
It's just frustration, and now we get on to Big Willies.
Oh, giant willies, big dirty giant willies.
There's a story about that. But it is a big part of it. I know it seems like we're kind of going off topic on it, but I mean, what we do in terms of the Cork music scene and so on, it is married very much to mental health and mental health awareness.
Oh, absolutely.
For a lot of people across the way. I know you've had a podcast episode where you discussed it yourselves, Richie. But like
Bailey Jr., shout out.
You mean the people that you meet at the gigs and the vulnerability that's there, and you have this sort of unifying event, or you have this unifying kind of sentiment towards music, that everybody gathers together and has fun and gets it off their fucking chest. That's not there at the moment. And
no, it's not at all.
And then like it goes right down to things like that, and then you get into things like counselling. Well, all these things are overlooked by the authorities. They're just said like, fuck it, bunch of fucking idiots going in shouting at each other in a venue.
But they don't give a fuck about that.
Give a fuck about it. You know, it's part of what makes it so endearing as well, is that you have to make that extra bit of an effort to overcome that fucking sentiment from authority, I guess. It is authority music at the end of the day, you know?
The problem is that they, like, if you don't have a result in, like, an hour or two, then it's, apparently it's got no worth. And that's the fucking problem. Because these, like, mental issues do not come about in an hour or two. They come about in a lifetime of being fucking stepped on, or whatever the fucking case may be. Whether, you know, so how can you correct that shit in an hour or two when it's been a lifelong fucking problem? You can't.
Yeah.
You fucking can't. You can't do that.
But you can certainly bring people into a venue for a gig and get them to forget about all their fucking troubles and focus on the music, and, you know, give them what they want for 2 hours, 2.5 hours of escapism.
Dude, I'm absolutely with you on that. That is one way of fucking counteracting the horrible shit of being a fucking human being. And just, you know, because we all go through it. Like, the fucking, that, like, if you take at its base value, like, fucking being born comes at a price. You have to fucking die. And every single one of us has to fucking, like, come to terms with that at some point in their life. And that is a fucking scary thing to come to terms with. That, you know, everything we know and everything we hold dear is going to fucking fall apart and just cease to exist.
You know, it's so easy just to hit the self-destruct button at the moment. And, you know, the music...
Oh, there is, yeah.
The music channels every emotion through what you're fucking bringing out in those, what is it, 6 songs, is it? Yeah, 6 songs.
Well, 5 to my mind.
Yeah, Fringe being, if you want to count Fringe as the opener.
No, that was a label choice.
Yeah, but I mean,
fucking decided that was 2 different songs. It's 1 song.
Yeah, it's why you're on the show tonight, man. I think you've done an amazing job. A big shout out to Liam, Mark, Pavel, and Sean for fucking. As I said, I think it's a game changer in the Irish metal scene for 2021.
Well, hopefully, man.
And
can you give me 2 minutes while I go for a wee?
Why is he fucking doing that? Just as I'm fucking closing off the show.
Because I have to go for a piss.
You can't do it.
The perfect sign off and
ruin it. Fucking ruined it.
Don't.
That's it. You're dead to me.
Don't you dare.
You've been listening to Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. Con's gone for a piss. Thanks, Howard, for the show. And
fuck off.
Support your local metal scene. Goodbye.
Fuck off, you bastard.
Oh my God! Right,
you can stay on. We'll have a bit of crack.
I'm going to build up.
I'd be too soft in here, I think. You know.
I'm going to build up here. I'm going to build it up again. Right, I'm going to fucking try.
Dubai.
Yeah. Here we go. So, you have been listening to Howard, my co-host. Thank you so much for coming on the show, my man.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and Con Doyle, guitarist of Soothsayer, ye have probably made one of the best albums of 2021.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see, yeah. I think
we'll see.
That's my own opinion. I've had the privilege of getting an advance copy of the album, and I really appreciate that, man. It is outstanding from start to finish. And massive shout out to the lads that didn't make it tonight, which is Liam, Mark, Pavel, and Sean. Fantastic. And who knows what fucking 2021 is going to bring us. This album needs to be heard live, and it needs to be heard live in Fred's as a Paranoid Beast promotion. So everybody check out Soothsayer. Your Bandcamp page is still taking purchases for I love the box set, actually. It's really cool.
The coffin one.
The coffin one is so box. Cool. Yeah. So that's still available, cool. Con, yeah?
Yep. Very few of them are available right now.
Yeah.
Good place to be.
And I've bought the long sleeved and the album. What else is there? The hoodie, zip hoodie, and there's a normal pullover hoodie as well.
Yeah, there's a pullover hoodie, there's a zip hoodie, there's fucking a wooden coffin shaped box set that has a patch and
there's a load of there's a lot of cool stuff in that.
It's a big fucking merch game. No, not big enough to win us. Fucking best merch on the Metal Cell podcast. But
who knows, man? Who knows?
We did all right.
You did good. You did. And
goddamn bitches.
And can people order that through the record label, Con, is it?
You can order it through either the record label or the Bandcamp.
Okay, cool. So, is there going to be another release before the album, as in a single release, or is the next step the actual album release?
Before the album comes out, there will be another. And by God, it is the most proud I've been of the band. There's going to be another video release.
Cool, excellent stuff. Excellent,
and it's an animated video. It's fucking phenomenal.
Oh, class, man.
It's just I can't. So there's a crowd from Galway called Goat Planet, who did the animation for it, and fuck, it's incredible. It really is.
Excellent.
It's just like, I'm a grunge kid. I grew up in the 90s, and I have my own sensibilities, but like, they're very much influenced by grunge culture, I guess. And they took that. I did a storyboard for them and sent it on, and they just they really made it their own.
And who is it from Galway? Can you give them a shout out?
Goat Planet.
Goat Planet.
Planet.
Yeah,
nice
Tia and Ivan, and that's upcoming. And believe me, fucking, like, I genuinely believe that this is going to be our biggest thing that we ever did.
Nice.
It's the music video for Cities Made of Smoke.
Oh, cool. One of my favorite tracks. Class.
Yeah, and it's like, it's we've all in the band, we've all suffered with our own mental health and come to terms with it, and this is just one of those moments where it just all comes together. And look, just wait for it. It's coming up soon enough, and it's going to make an impact, I think.
Yes.
Cool.
Excellent. Fantastic to hear, man. That's great news to hear. An exclusive as well. Cool. So, lads, thanks a million for coming on the show again, Howard. Much appreciated. Great having you on, man. Fair fucks to you. Con, as always, our love. Thank you. Much appreciated.
All right, man.
Okay, so subscribe to the Metal Cell podcast. Hit that like, and we cannot wait for Soothsayers, and the album is called Echoes of the Earth, and it shall be released on, the official date is April the 9th, 2021, through Transcending Obscurity Records. Good night, everybody.
What you think of tunes, Con?